come under that would be so
Happy Monday, family. It's the Hood Mystic representing www.hoodmystic.com. Just like a daily energy reading, but also kind of what I tend to do before the solar eclipses and major astrological events is kind of give us a quick walkthrough on the personal, esoteric viewpoints of what's happening and doing these kinds of conversations, talk to a vast selection of people doing a variety of different things. And so the idea is to bring us all into a room and have a conversation regardless of what you're doing in the physical realm. We take a step back and deal with the psychology, the spirituality, and the astrology of it all, and dealing with the unconscious or the unseen realms, which in the normal way of thinking is just our emotions and our mental way of how we process life. And so this energy, I feel there's a lot of things that is happening in the sign of Gemini, and really understanding Gemini, really understanding this. If we can understand Gemini, then we can understand this energy. And so that's what I attempt to do during this quick little talk that we'll be having. I have some notes that I just kind of want to go over and just kind of talk about it. And so just want to send a shout out to the Patreon family, patreon.com/hoodmystics. We will continue the monthly moon sign readings tomorrow morning. So make sure you are up and early and getting your moon sign readings early because they tend to stack up real quick. So I'm going to do a daily energy reading, and then right after that, I'm going to jump over to Patreon and jump onto those monthly moon sign readings. So if you are a subscriber, if you are a Patreon member, thank you. If you aren't, just for $1 a month, you can get monthly moon sign readings, and you simultaneously support my content and support this channel. So thank you to people who are supporting. Really do appreciate you, especially in this time that I'm presently living in. So, those dollars, they can really add up and find like it's a small gesture of support. And, I really, really, really do appreciate it. My family really, really does appreciate it. And thank you. And peace to everybody on the live. Sorry I can't be into the chat because my chat's not up for some reason, but appreciate everybody that's in the chat. Feel free to chop it up in the chat, create conversations within the chat, create relationships within the chat. We also have a Slack platform where we could, meet up with, like minds and discuss different things as well. So if interested in that, feel free to email me at hoodmystic@gmail.com. And so the moon presently during this time is moving into a conjunction of Venus in the first decan of Gemini in sidereal astrology. If we just take a look at this map, and we can see where this energy is at. And you can definitely feel Mercury's shadow We talked about Mercury a lot during the daily energy readings, where it's simply a point in time or a point in reference that if we do journal, if we do have particular ways of contacting our unseen selves, this is a good time to really do the self inventory, to really get understand ourselves. And so once Mercury does enact and act out its retrograde process, it won't be so much of a blind side. So I think Mercury shadow is very important to understand, and I'm happy that the conscious community or the collective conscious is now really trying to understand Mercury retrograde and all of its phases: shadow, stationary, retrograde, and then moving through the shadow once more. It's just a lot, but it's good to talk about it and it's good to process. And trust me that we'll be on top of Mercury retrograde, shadow, all of that on this channel. So every Wednesday is our Mercury day. So I don't necessarily know this Wednesday will be on because we are planning on traveling to Detroit in the middle of the week. But I'm trying to go live even though I am traveling. So I'm taking my camera with me, taking my laptop, and trying to get that all set up. And even if it doesn't work on my laptop, I'll still plan to go live from my phone. So we're going to just keep these things going regardless of what's going on with me. Just following up on this interview. So all of that out the way, if we can kind of see where the sun is at, we can see where the moon is at. It's sitting in Gemini. And so the title of this video is Breaking Through the Glass Ceiling. And if we were to understand that in full context, like, just give me a moment to kind of just abstract this for a second and let's really understand Gemini. Like, let's really get it and analogize it. So imagine you're in a room, and in this room there is a glass wall or a glass ceiling, and on the other side of the glass ceiling is everything that is supposed your greatest destiny, desire, everything that you want is on the other side of the glass. So within Gemini, that is the crux of understanding. Do I go for my desires, or do I just peer at my desires and make the best of the situation that I'm presently in? Or do I peer at my desires so much so that I don't even care about the room that I'm presently in? To balance and understand Gemini, it is to probe what's on the outside of that window and also take care of the home room that you were initially in too. It's not, or you could combine and just simply break through and shatter the glass and then understand that where you are physically and where you are going, there has to be a barrier that has to break through, and you have to understand that that barrier is there. And in order to get to that other side, you can't simply peer at it and just like, I want to, that relationship is on the other side of the glass. And it's like, he's so cute, or she's so fine, or she's so divine, and she's everything that I want, but she's on the other side of the glass. And I find that in this medium, in this space and time that we're speaking into presently, dealing with the internet, it really represents Gemini in a sense, where you can see me, you can hear me, and we have a somewhat of an energy exchange, but there is no physical connection. There is no physical touch. And this is Gemini. Do you move towards what you see on the screen? So generally in this way of life, there is Instagram now, and people using filters and makeup and body modifications and renting houses and buying clothes from the store, wearing those clothes, taking pictures in particular locations, taking that same outfit because I didn't take the tags off. I just took the picture, just to get clout and just to floss. And this is the world that we live in. So when we do peer into that glass window, are we really seeing something that's real, or are we seeing a particular fantasy? And I guess another part of Gemini is once you do probe that other side, you realize that that desire or that thing that you really thought was going to be the key, it wasn't. But what you hopefully learn in the unification of the Gemini process, because there's no such thing as a Gemini. We all have Gemini somewhere in our chart, somewhere within our being, that we have to cross the threshold, that we have to break the barrier within ourselves. And it's not the destination, it's the actual modality that there should be no boundaries in our experience. And it's not to say that what's on the other side is going to make us better, but what's on the other side is going to make us whole. The action of unification is going to make us whole. It's not, because you don't necessarily know how I am in real life. And so there's many different types of people that have reached out to me in their fantasy of what they think that I might be like, and from there project a future that won't necessarily exist. So therefore, as an individual, one must be mindful, right, of how people might look at you on the other side of the glass and view you as kind of this perfect divine figure when you're trying to figure it out yourself. So it's important not to continue that mythology and, bring it into reality, because a lot of us are predicating our reality and future off of people based upon particular shadow projection. And this is an effect of Gemini. You could imagine that because a person has accomplished a particular thing, that is then offset a particular vibration, where if this person has a lot of money, then he must be happy. And you equate money to happiness. And that's just shadow projection. There's a lot of people with money that aren't particularly happy, and you might present a person who doesn't have enough money or a person who doesn't live like a lavish lifestyle as being unhappy. And this is how we judge, and this is how we gauge, and this is ultimately the problems or the issues that we deal with understanding Gemini, is because it's this world on the other side that's gonna make me better. In this world that I presently have, it's the shits. That's not correct. And unification. So the actual probing and prodding and the understanding of this unseen world, or this world on the other side, within itself is seen as a victory to people on the outside, but internally you realize, like, damn, that's not even what I wanted either. But what really made me happy was the actual effort and action that I used or utilized to figuring it out. And during this time, well, I know that I'm on the right path is when my heart is like literally on fire, whether it's listening to a video or reading a book or making a move or going to a place. And all of these things I know because my heart begins to palpitate in such a way. And it's like, okay, this is a good guide for me in navigating this newfound world, because is instead of crossing the threshold and knowing what I wanted to establish in this other side, that reality is something that I have to really shed, because I don't necessarily know how this life is going to lead or how this life is going to play out. But the idea comes that I need to begin to investigate, begin to learn, begin to equip myself with particular skills and abilities, and really take advantage of the opportunity and space to navigate this new world. And it's very different from previous times where I enacted this Martian energy or this action or this energy of action because I knew what I want. I was going to do this and I was going to be this. And once I got this, I was going to be happy. And then whether I've succeeded or didn't succeed, it never really made me feel whole. What really now is making me feel whole is the fact that I'm in control, that I'm completely sovereign within myself. And this is indicated of Gemini, where we get into the realms of sovereignty and where we may feel that the government is going to grant us sovereignty if we join a particular movement, join a particular nationality. That would, and then maybe there will be a lot of people who tell you, "Oh, join this group because this group has your best interests." When that group within itself could only be in the self-interest of itself and its self-fulfilling prophecy for which it created. And that's not necessarily sovereignty, because if the government looks upon your group as a menace to society or a terrorist organization, and you're not a terrorist but you're associated and affiliated with that group, then that's not really sovereignty if the government giveth and taketh away. So within this whole scheme of life, we are taught a particular thing of nationality and sovereignty and really choosing the right group to be associated with. But that's not the sovereignty that I'm speaking of, that I experience. The sovereignty that I experience and that I live out is by interpreting and realizing my dreams. And then not only interpreting and realizing my dreams, but acting out what I'm motivated through in the dream world. When I have questions, when I have issues, when I have concerns, I'm not on Facebook or Twitter, rashing out on people or, depressed or sad. I know that the answers lie within me. And with that sublime truth understanding, whether if I can't get it through meditation, if I can't get it through whatever I'm trying to do, I know for a fact that I do go to sleep and I do have a particular dream world. I have a whole particular dream construct that when I sleep, it's a whole world full of answers, full of intuition, and it's not blocked by the conscious mind. And as a practice of dream journaling, I've created a whole system of what particular dreams mean when I dream them. And another thing that I would say, this walk and talk of self-discovery is extremely long for myself. So many years and so much energy and effort and books and note taking and exercises and walks in nature and feeling very lost and confused because I'm trying to know self, simultaneously carrying this previous life. In the previous video that I spoke to, the beauty of rock bottom, is where that's where I really was initiated into the spiritual life and the spiritual understanding. And it was from trauma. It was from a near-death experience. And that led to a prison sentence and then a whole relearning of life. But I say all of that to say that walk, that was in 2003. It's 2019. So you could say 16 years I've been really trying to figure out what in the fuck, is going on. So that within itself represents Gemini. And the interesting thing about me, my North Node is in Gemini. So therefore, this realization or this quest or this future of understanding self, understanding not just this one physical side of me or this one physical side of people. Like, I see the spiritual and the physical in all beings. I probably see more spiritual in people than I see physical. The difficult thing about this is that 99% of conversations, whether it be from individuals, from the internet, whether it's conversations with my wife, my mom, my children, everybody, is this physical life. In here, I've put in thousands up to this point of blog posts, hundreds of videos, weekly astrological reports, constant documentation on the unseen realm, trying to not only speak about this magic or this hidden unseen realm, like even more so in my physical life, in my actual walk, the ancient rediscovery of Native American mounds when nobody would speak to mounds, and my own personal history and walk and study and understanding of this could not come from mainstream media or television or nobody on YouTube telling me you need to go check out the mounds. It was pure coincidence or pure spiritual insight. And from there, and that's just a testament to taking that walk and being in those spaces that nobody are at. And then you're in those spaces for a long time and nobody's saying shit. At least this is my personal experience. I'm in these spaces and I'm at a mound and I don't get any channel. I'm not even really even excited about it or even realizing the connection, but I keep going and I keep, not only did I keep going, but I kept seeing them all over, driving all over Ohio, whether it's southeast, northeast, northwest, southwest. I kept seeing them. And now I'm like, 40 pages into a novel and I'm like really connecting the mound builders to my legacy, to my great grandfather and my great grandmother, and putting all of these pieces together. And this walk is very personal, very individual, and part of it is me being caught up and being Kyrie, and high school wasn't the best. I never took a girl to prom. Not the best looking guy on the block. Not the most fit, healthy guy on the block. Never. I could go on and on about all of the shit, But crossing that threshold, unifying and understanding this energy is not allowing me to stay in that space. But say, for instance, you do make that journey, you do break that glass ceiling. Are you going to go forward with all of your heart? Move forward to your soul with all of your heart, or are you gonna make sure your mama is straight? You gonna make sure your friends, you gonna make sure your wife is okay with you uh being whole? These are the questions and these are the troubles with Gemini. When 99% of people have attachments to unhealthy and toxic things that hold you into that original space that we call it our room, right? That initial analogy, we're pulled and grounded in that room. So if our roots are in that room, all we can do is look over at the glass and see everybody having fun outside. People driving by with their stereo systems playing all the songs you want to hear. But you grounded in that room, or you looking at that screen, or you looking outside that window, and you waiting on that point of time when it's gonna be your time to live in that, ride around in your car with the system. Well, you have to get out of the house, or you have to cross or break open that glass. And, very difficult to shed those ties. And you could get with this mentally, right? Mentally, you can get with it, but emotionally, it's a very stronger tie. It's a very stronger bond emotionally, because when you leave, that regret, that fear, what if this bad happens, and all of these things of what people expect of you, um, all of these things really matter at an emotional level, and these are the things that actually block us. It's not the mental thing, because we mentally want to have the best life possible, but emotionally we're not completely on board. So the next step to this is forgiveness and realizing our ignorance. Forgiveness is such a large word in our faculty that it is no real way to define it or give it proper etymology or even give it proper understanding within words. But I'm gonna attempt to any goddamn way. I'm gonna attempt to, because to forgive, it would be for like in the future, for like foreknowledge, forethought, forgive, or if you hit a golf ball and you yell for, means that ball is going forward. Yeah, forward. For give is to literally give. So if I'm going to forgive myself, I'm already going to give myself abundance. I'm already going to give myself love. I'm in the future. In the future, forgiveness is I forgive myself abundance. I forgive myself love. I forgive myself a big house. I forgive myself a yard big enough for all my children to play comfortably. I forgive myself. This is how you forgive. You forgive. And that's probably the second part. The first part of this is ignorance. To be acquainted with, to meet up, to. It's not to say that you're stupid. It's not to say that you're dumb. It's not to say that you're wrong. It's to say that you haven't been acquainted with, or you've made a mistake in your judgment of yourself if you only view yourself as this singular being that came out of your mama's vagina. That's ignorance. That's ignorance of Gemini. To just imagine that since I'm Tupac and I got all of the best lyrics, everything came from my own mind, right? I'm this great thinker and I don't give it up for the ancestral spirit that's giving me these ideas, that's giving me the success, and that's giving me the leeway. So from there, why don't I just take onus or take responsibility or accountability to counsel with the soul and to be clear with the soul, as opposed to being clear with my reputation as a gangster, right? Just a Gemini that I can think of is the first person that pop up in my head when I think of Gemini. So take no notice of, pay no attention to the soul. This is the problem of Gemini, not with Geminis as a zodiac sign, but Gemini as a concept, as an understanding. And as we deal with the solar eclipse in Gemini, there is an inundation of the fact of you being an individual and not you being this spiritual unification. And then there is governments and societies that, let me take a step back 1 second. So it's you and me, right? We on YouTube right now, we vibing, we talking or whatever. But then it's people like the president and the Queen of England, and all of these people with particular clearances, and they doing all of this and that. Secret societies, intelligence officers and things of that nature. They live in a whole different, completely different world. And instead of it bothering us as a society, we tune in to the royal wedding. Like, who paid for the royal wedding? Like, the citizens paid for the royal wedding. So therefore, like in 2019, 2018, we still look at people and hold them on a particular pedestal. Like, okay, this person is sovereign, this person can do this, that, and the third and get away with it, and the rules and the laws are for, this classism and all of these different things. And from there, we are searching for our rights from the system when they have this shit already in place to denounce you and to keep you subdued and keep you subjugated. I study a lot of conspiracy. I'm on like the fringe of studying things, and a lot of people get blackballed and kicked off of YouTube and all this types of weird shit. Like, no freedom of speech. That doesn't even really exist anymore. And this is the world that we live in. So in all of this in this reality, I find that the only thing to properly do is to follow the soul, is to be sovereign within yourself, because there is not a soul on the planet that can give it to you. And if you feel that another person can give you sovereignty, another person can give you divinity, another person can give you particular acclaim, then you're ignorant to your inner self. You're ignorant to your soul. You don't even believe in yourself enough to give yourself that authority. And it ain't to say that, it could very well say you walk around this bitch with a crown and robe on, if that's what you want. Because king, to call each other king and to do all of this, what does it mean? Does it mean that we rule over the people, or are we all divine? Or are we all royalty in our own houses? That's what I tend to think. And if I'm a king and my wife's a queen in this house, then where do we get that divinity from? It damn sure ain't the president. It damn sure ain't the church. It damn sure ain't the mosque. It damn sure ain't the temple. It's from whatever energy that allowed us to enter and exist in this plane at this particular point in time. Whatever energy is keeping my heart beating at this particular point in time. That's who I give it up to. I am forgiving, and so it is. Yeah, you can forgive. So being ignorant and not being ignorant, and two, so the opposite of ignorant is gnosis. So ignorant is just without gnosis. Gnosis is understanding you as a holistic being. And once you're in this space of being a holistic being, then you're in the space of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not, looking back and being like, it's okay that you did this and the third to me in the past. I forgive you. That's not even nothing of what it means. That's something completely different. That's like not even the word. Like, it don't have shit to do with the past. Like, you literally forgive. To forgive, it means to give yourself something in the future, as a matter of fact. So in doing forgiveness rituals in the past, I've been on this journey for a while. So there's a lot of different things that I'm familiar with. And if you ever did forgiveness rituals or forgiveness ceremonies, amazing things happen after that. I promise you. Like, if you forgive with sincerity, quick little story of forgiveness. I shared it on this channel before, but I'm sure, I talk so much on my stories, most people don't even hear most of my stories, but I digress. I was talking on the phone to this girl named Monet. She was getting me hot, yo. She was really, really pissing me off. She was pissing me off bad. I don't know what she was saying. I can't remember what she was saying because all I was seeing was red, and we was just on the phone, and I'm just talking and she's just talking, And like I had like these wooden closet doors in my apartment at the time. And she said something, and I just hauled off with my right hand as hard as I could into my wooden panels, and it was thick, you know, thick, heavy wood. So wasn't nothing breaking but my hand. So I literally broke my pinky. Piece. I broke my pinky. And this is when like Androids had first came out. And so this is where you first was getting apps. And at this time I was a hardcore Christian. So I had like these different apps. And one app that I had was the forgiveness app. And I can't find this app for shit, but it would just have like these different words would pop out, and it was a black screen, and like they would fade in and fade out, and I would just meditate on it. And I was getting a ride to work with my boy Javier. My hand was broke, and I worked at this fiberglass mill where I had to literally use my hands like shit. Like, no way I was going to be able to work with one hand. Like I needed two hands for 8 hours. Like if I didn't have nothing else, like I could have been in a wheelchair, but I needed my hands. So me breaking my hands and having to work, and I was living in Massachusetts, and my rent was like 700. I couldn't not work, and I couldn't really work because I didn't have a hand. So I was just like really intent on this application of forgiveness. Like whatever it was, I can't remember. It wasn't the Ho'oponopono. It was something different. It was very Christian based, but I was in a zone. I was in a zen. And lo and behold, I'm driving with Javier. Javier is taking me to work today. And so it was the slowest, most obvious car wreck in the history of life. Like Javier had to been driving like 10 miles, and the car just pulled up in front of us just so Javier could hit him. And so he hit them, and the first thing I did was like, oh shit, I broke my hand in this car wreck. So I ended up I didn't have to work, because of that accident, and it was all from the realm of forgiveness. I'll never forget that story, and that's always something that I'll use whenever I get in tight situations. I'm not really forgiving myself the best possible outcome. You have to, I hope I'm making like 100% clarity when understanding the idea of forgiving, because that then ties into Gemini. Ignorance then ties into Gemini, because we are no longer ignorant of the soul. And if we're understanding of the soul, then we can forgive ourselves anything in the future. There is nothing that you can forgive yourself. It's just the reality that you never even thought about it up until this point. Don't lie and say you have either. Peace to the family, man. Peace, peace, peace. Mental and emotional preparation for the solar eclipse. So if we were going to mentally and emotionally prepare for the solar eclipse, both of these cards, the Eight of Swords, the Nine of Swords, they speak to just looking at something, and then that just be the end of the whole conversation. Like, you can't see these 9 swords over my head. You can't see that I'm trying to get to this ledge over here. And if we just use these as snapshots, people can live their whole lives, looking at the inside, and then, looking at the outside and creating an emotional vibration for what they see and what they can't experience. You either going to build a bridge to that other side. You either going to embrace those 9 of swords that's above your head, that mental cruelty. You either going to have to see that that's not even going to hurt you, really. You have to begin to move forward. And however you're going to move forward, are you going to build a bridge, or are you just going to build a house where you're at? Because if we continue to look at the outside, then there presents particular limits and particular walls and particular blocks, and people are getting kicked off of shit. You getting stopped here, you getting stopped there. And that's really like, if the system breaks all the way down, Where are you really gonna turn to? And if you are indicated on to do things about the future now, then you have to begin to, like, that's what it's about. It's stuff that we need to do right now to get us to that next point. And just sitting there peering at it, just sitting there looking at it is not gonna do anything. It's not gonna do anything for us to point out, oh, did you see what Trump did? Oh, did you see that they starting a war in Iran? Oh, did you see this? Oh, did you see what they doing to this person and that person? Mind you, it's the all types of scandals that happen, Pizzagate, WikiLeaks, all types of corruption that go on, all types of conspiracy that happen that, just because you don't pay attention to, therefore it don't exist and you live in that particular bliss. So why are you harping on what you looking at? Why are you so sad about what you seeing? Now I could reveal a whole world to you that ain't nothing but negativity. It's 7 billion people in the world. All different types of stories, all different types of sadness, all different types of experiences that you could feel limited and blocked from. But we stepping outside of religion, we stepping out of church, we stepping out of the mosque, we stepping out of the temple, and we walking towards ourselves, and we're trusting ourselves. We're not in this particular system of dogma or doctrine. The key is inside of each of us to tell us what we should be doing. And the realities that present us right now, they seem like great leaps of faith. They seem very difficult, but if we begin to act on them, then we change the vibration. And from that vibration, you get this feeling in your heart. Like, okay, this is what I'm doing. Okay, I'm not in the space where I'm working, but I'm in the space where I'm working on my novel. And this feels good to me. I'm happy doing this. I'm happy being with my family more. I feel better in this space. And I don't know what is going to turn out for me. All I do know is that I'm happier and I feel better in this space. Trusting myself. So we could either be focused on what we can't do or where we can't go, or we could either break through, or like Gemini presents us with a whole different set of, so I guess in this conversation, even when breaking down the analogy, I can give this whole system to many different people and they'll act apart it differently. Certain people will be like, well, is the glass bulletproof? I can't get through the glass, so I'm just gonna make sure that my house is nice. Certain people will be like, well, I'm breaking through that glass. And certain other people will be like, well, is there a system that I could devise to get under the glass panel and around without, like, everybody is going to look at their boundaries and their limitations differently. And as an individual, you have to give them that space, because another key component of this is that everybody has a soul that is guiding them and that is on their kind of karmic realization train. And part of their karmic growth was that they came into contact with you. That's it. They only came in contact with your essence. But other than that, they're just going to do the normal thing that their soul tells them that they should do, whether it's get a car, get married, retire at 65, do all of the normal shit. And their soul is not at that level that your soul is on. That's another part of it as well. But this energy is very, 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 very easily navigated when you begin to service the soul. Very simple, right? Very, very simple. And not only, you'll feel it though, too. You'll feel either loss or you'll feel emblazoned in that connection. And if you're lost, if you're feeling lost and you're feeling like, I don't, you know how sometimes we could just feel that way? Begin to show service. I know I'm gonna jump on these monthly moon sign readings tomorrow, and like that's going to be how I navigate any, like I'm not gonna think about anything but the monthly moon sign readings for the day. Like, you know, and just giving, figuring out ways that I can begin to give to people will fall my heart and assist them. Really quick video. Just wanted to get that out. Just wanted to really get through these notes because honestly, this video, if it was for no one, it was for me to really process this energy because this is, I wouldn't necessarily say it's a tough time, but it's definitely a confusing time if you don't factor in all of this Gemini energy that's pervading the planet presently. And also Cancer energy, I want to interject. It's a strong Cancer influence as well. Learning to process or even to recognize the cancers in your life that have made an impact on you. Um, that's a positive thing too. People's whose birthdays was this week, very important people. So taking some time out to send them a call or, you know, reach out and, you know, let them know that they've made a great impact on your life. Even if they don't even know that they made an impact in your life, you tend to dream a lot about cancers because Neptune rules Cancer. And so those people, even though they may affect you, like you might need $20 from a Cancer, and the Cancer be, that's who you can get it from, but they also help you in the spiritual realm, in the dream realm. These people, I call them bodhisattvas for real. They might not even realize it, but they come in your life and they're nothing but benevolent. And no matter if you're fucked up, then you're fucked up. But they come in your life, they're nothing but benevolent, and you might isolate them, but that isolation might exist in the physical realm, but spiritually, they still do assist you. So sending them a DM, you know, you helped me last night in that dream, bro, or sis, or grandma or auntie. It's just these Cancerians that are highly Neptune involved. Their energy is strong. So, you know, even they're having birthdays too, so it's easy to just be like, hey, happy birthday and thanks. So with that being said, I hope that resonated. I hope that gave you some clarity on the transits that's happening, and then also take a look at these previous videos and previous content on hoodmystic.com, and it really would lead up to this initial conversation that we're having today. All of the videos and all of the support that I've been getting recently, all of the feedback, people telling me that they're happy that the daily energy readings are back, and, you know, gives me purpose and allows me to keep going on and doing something that I really do love. And I'm just so happy that people get positive responses to it. So keep that going, and make sure you like this video if you got something from it. Make sure you dislike it if you dislike it. You know, just let me know how you felt. But with that being said, peace. Have a great day.